Okay, I'm the urban girl.
I'm the Shiksa.
So, if you are familiar with a show called Fresh Air, hosted by Terry Gross on NPR, it's fabulous. It's phenomenal. It's a show that in 1997, when our book, The Healing Choice, Your Guide to Emotional Recovery After an Abortion, when that book came out, Terry Gross, who we really like, would not have us on her show.
And you know what? It wasn't personal, most likely. It was
Not at all.
policy because
Not at all.
nobody talked about abortion publicly.
So on my way here to meet the Shiksa tonight,
The urban girl listened in the car
to Terry Gross, who was talking to Jenny Slate and Gillian Robespierre, who, Gillian, that's her name, wrote and directed this new movie called Obvious Child, and the core of this movie is about abortion.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a flashback moment for me because these two young women, kudos to them. We haven't seen the movie yet, but we hear it's just absolutely beautiful, and they've done a remarkable and wonderful job. And they were talking about, from the beginning of this whole idea about this movie, that it was so important to be able to talk about abortion in the public today. And when I heard that, I almost crashed my car.
Dana and I, for I would say just about 2 years, considered that we were on a book tour. We had our practices in LA, but we were all over the country for 2 years. And in terms of television, we could only get on cable. We were on radio, we were in magazines.
Many radio, hundreds of radio
Network
shows.
could not put us on.
No.
Policy, you couldn't say the A word unless it was a news channel. Nobody talked about it because they were terrified that sponsors would leave.
So here's when we wrote our book. Our book sold in 24 hours to a major publisher. It was an incredibly exciting thing. And the media had a little bit of a buzz that this very important book was coming out. So people from networks, Nightline, Dateline, The Today Show, 2020, big shows at the time especially, said, absolutely, we're going to have you on our show. Whatever this is, it's going to be important. And then they found out what we wrote about in our book that was marketed as a non-political, non-religious book on the normal feelings that women have after having an abortion, terminating a pregnancy. And like dominoes, they fell, one after another.
People stopped returning calls. The people that did talk to us said, we can't. It's against the rules. We cannot put you on.
Right.
And
it's in their network policy
Right.
because major sponsors that happen to be pro-life, Anit-Choice, wouldn't pay then for the programming. So we're not that important. But this was an enormous awakening to us and to our publicists who didn't know that. We couldn't figure out why we couldn't get the book on.
No, and Dana and I adamantly in our book, The Healing Choice, we didn't talk about our politics. We didn't declare that we're pro-choice.
No.
Because there's a lot of women who are anti-choice who still have abortions, and we didn't want to scare them. So the book is not political, it's
In no
not
way.
religious, it's
In
just
no way.
if you had an abortion and you have feelings about it, many women do. 43% of American women have had at least one abortion by the time they go into menopause. It's probably even a little more exaggerated right now. That we could not talk about it whatsoever because it was twisted and turned into a politics, and then sponsors would leave.
So here's this movie that's just come out, and what I had said to my dear friend was, this is incredible that a distributor bought this movie, that they wanted to actually put it in theaters across America. When our book came out, we couldn't get it into bookstores because they were afraid to carry it because, as they told us, books that are on the subject of abortion are either destroyed in the store or they're stolen.
There was a wonderful, wonderful bookstore in Santa Barbara, the Earthling, which is gone now. And we came out in March of '97, and that happened to be Women's History Month. And they did have the book in the front window, and they got threatening calls that people were going to throw bricks through it, just because it talked about healing feelings from a past abortion. And over the years, Dana and I will still get phone calls where a wonderful, young, energetic production assistant from some show is going to get us on and just wants to talk to us for a few minutes. And we tell the story. We said we would love that. We know, and most likely when you go back and talk to your senior producer,
it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. So it's a thrill for us to hear Obvious Child's out there.
Yeah, it's really quite remarkable. And again, it says so much about, well, the beauty of their project. We're so proud of them, and again, cheers to them. But what's happened in the country, as obviously something is gone on that has made the discussion possible, finally, kind of. So it's, again, it just blew my mind. I will tell you one quick story. We very much wanted to get on the Oprah show. That was the show at the time, of course, that could make a book a bestseller.
And our publisher is Simon & Schuster, that has direct connections to
They knew they could get us on the show. Well, they couldn't get us on the show. There was a lot of fear in that show because they had recently had Cher and Sissy Spacek, who had been on an HBO movie about abortion. And of course, there had been anti-choice plants in the audience and picketing the studio. It was really scary for them. So when they heard about our book, it was a flat out no. So many years later, Oprah was on TV, and she said, which made me want to jump through the screen and really have a conversation with her, if not throttle her. She said, "There's not a topic I won't touch." Well, that topic, even she couldn't touch. And look where we are now.
And
crazy.
Movies cover everything. There's the coming of age, there's relationships, there's girlfriends, there's guy movies, there's action films, that everything gets discussed. But this is the first time with Obvious Child that the subject is being held.
Yeah. Congratulations, girls. You did it.